took a dive. I didn't know I'd fall so deep into your eyes. I've never been somewhere so sweet. I'm hypnotized. Yeah, you put my mind at ease. Got you divine. I'm thankful that you're mine. Looking at me like people are looking at their phones. I've spent 7 years looking for love that I can hold. Bring the contamination level down.
Yo, what's up YouTube? We're back with another video. This build is going to be about Ashton Dread. The setup I have going for him with Dread. But yeah, let's get to the build. Robin Hood Ash. So let's get to the build. How I'm gonna explain it is I'm gonna tell you how the setup works, and then we'll go over Ash, then Dread. Or sorry, our primer, then Ash, then Dread. But first I'm gonna show you how the whole setup works and how the Dread is getting buffed. So starting off with Ash, we're running Smoke Shadow and Arcane Crepuscular, as well as Arcane Acceleration. Worthy Camaraderie is sometimes helpful for when we're building Incarnon and we're aiming for headshots. Regardless, it'll work for Incarnon form as well. So anyways, Smoke Shadow, we're getting 150% chance while invisible. Arcane Crepuscular, we're getting 3 times final critical damage, as well as 30% ability strength while invisible. Arcane Acceleration, giving us that faster fire rate. This can be swapped out for Arcane Rage if you want more damage. I just prefer the flow of Arcane Acceleration. It feels smoother to me. And then now for Dread, we have Spectral Serration and we have Unseen Dread. Once again, being invisible will give us a 330% damage buff. And for Unseen Dread, we're getting 175% more critical damage also while being invisible. And that is pretty much it. So basically, you are using Ash and you're activating Smoke Screen as often as you can. And with my build, you have 27 seconds of being invisible. So let me go ahead and start off with the primer build. We're using a Kuva Nucor with Secondary Fortifier. Secondary Fortifier is there to help us with survivability. Perpetual Agony can be swapped off. I just preferred the duration of the statuses being longer. But yeah, this can be swapped to something else. And the primer itself, you can use a different primer. Kuva Nucor is just pretty fast when it comes to priming. Now for the Ash build. So I already explained, the arcanes and these 2 mods. I'm gonna go ahead and explain everything else. So we would use Rush here, but we have the wrong polarity. So whenever I have time, I'll swap this out for Rush when we swap the polarity. And then, yeah, the main focus is going to be duration, strength, and not sacrificing any efficiency. That's why we're not running Blind Rage, because you're going to be activating Smokescreen a lot. We do not want the energy cost for Smokescreen to increase, but 35 is okay for us. And then we also have energy management with Nourish, which is subsumed over his 1. There's no need for his 1. I don't use it. But yeah, we subsumed Nourish for energy management and to get viral as well, to help with our priming. So when we use our primer, we're also adding viral if our Nourish is activated. Now for survivability, we have Rolling Guard. It's just, like I said, just another form of survivability and like oh shit moments. And then yeah, like I said, main focus, duration, strength. Blind Rage not needed. We're getting 223% strength anyway, which will give us 100% damage increase for our to our Nourish. Now for the Dread build, I already went over Spectral Serration and Unseen Dread, so I'm gonna go over and explain the other mods. So we have Galvanized Chamber for multi-shot, Critical Delay for critical chance, so 150% critical chance, and then with the augment from Ash, also giving us 150% critical chance. We're hitting 300% critical chance. So, and then we have Hunter Munitions for slash procs, because the bleed damage can hit some pretty good numbers, and yeah, it's helpful. Now we're running Vital Sense and Hammer Shot for critical damage. We do not need the 80% status chance from Hammer Shot. We do have a Riven, but it's not rolled well, and I don't have enough Kuva to re-roll it. But whenever I do, I'm going to re-roll it for critical damage and multi-shot, and then once I have that, I'm going to take out Hammer Shot. Now, before I move on, I do want to say that this was not the build that was shown on the clip. The build that was shown on the clip, we weren't using Hunter munitions. We were using Prime Cryo rounds. And then we were also using a different evolution, which was this evolution, increased base status chance. Now for the build that I had before showing you this, we were using zeroed in. But for the build that I'm showing you right now, the one that was shown in the clip, we're using base status chance, which will give us 140% status, and our blast is 113%. The reason why I swapped it out is because I was just testing it and I managed to make it to level cap and it did well in level cap, but I don't think blast was needed. No, I felt like even if I had a lot of multi-shot, getting 10 stacks of blast was kind of difficult, but it was helpful when we were able to kill an enemy and blast would proc, because that's how blast works. You either get 10 stacks or on death they explode with a blast, which, like I said, helped with AoE, but I don't think it's needed. And then as far as the other build, I also don't know if you need galvanized aptitude. I don't know if you're gonna get that 80% direct damage per status type, or sorry, 40%, but then, you know, times 2, so 80%. I would still need to test that, but yeah. Oh wait, Hunter munitions. But this is what we have so far. And we have terminal velocity to increase that projectile speed. Primary deadhead, you can use longbow sharp shot, but I don't think it's better than primary deadhead. Primary deadhead, you get 360% max stack, and you get it for 24 seconds. Meanwhile, longbow sharp shot, you only get it on your next shot, which I get it. You can do a headshot, next shot will get that buff, and then you do it again, then you do it again, but I'm too lazy for that. So primary deadhead, not only that, but we also get a 30% headshot increase to the headshot multiplier. And then for our companion, so for companions, I tried using the Sentinels. I think that's what they're called. I tried using the Sentinels, but when I would go invisible, the Sentinels would just stop attacking. I tried it on Nautilus Prime, and Nautilus Prime would use Cordon, but he wouldn't attack, or Nautilus wouldn't attack. But when we use Panzer Papaya, when we use Hound, they would still use their abilities, they would still attack. So yeah, that's why we're using Panzer. And we're also getting another form of survivability with Martyr Symbiosis. This is the Panzer build. It's a pretty basic build, but yeah. Martyr Symbiosis, Synth Deconstruct is not needed because we don't have an Equilibrium mod on. So this, but we use Panzer for other frames, so we just have this on here anyways. But we do have Reinforced Bond and Tenacious Bond to increase fire rate, and then Tenacious Bond to increase final critical damage multiplier. And then Viral Quills for viral stacking, and yeah. Now for our Panzer Claws, we do have Bite to get that critical chance above 50%. So our Tenacious Bond will work. If the companion's critical chance is over 50%, then you gain 1.2 final critical damage multiplier. Now I'm gonna go ahead and show you how the gameplay works. So I'm only MR17, and for some reason in this simulacrum specifically, I can only get it to level 115. So I'm sorry if I'm only showcasing this at lower levels, but as you saw in the beginning clip, that doesn't matter. Like, it will work at higher levels. So, but like I said, I'm limited. I really wish they would change this. They need to change this. They need to change this to, like, if you scan a higher level enemy, then you should be able to spawn that in the simulacrum. I feel like that's a better way of doing it. I do not know why they do it at an MR system. I think that's pretty. Anyways, it's enough ranting, but yeah, they need to change that. Anyways, I'm gonna go ahead and go invisible, and then I'm gonna go ahead and show you the buffs that activate while I'm invisible. So as you saw, we went invisible and we got 4 buffs: Arcane Crepuscular, Unseen Dread, Spectral Serration, and Smoke Shadow. So while you're invisible, you're getting a lot of buffs, and that's what this gameplay is you're just staying invisible. Now, as far as survivability goes, when you're killing Thraxes, when you're killing Thraxes, they have overguard, so when you're priming them, you're grabbing their overguard anyway. But as far as surviving higher levels, overguard is going to be helpful, because sometimes even if you're invisible, enemies will somehow still attack you through an AoE attack or whatever, and they'll hit you. So, if you have overguard, that's a way of protecting yourself from dying to that one shot, two shot, whatever. And then once that's gone and you're still invisible, you're going to go ahead and, grab that overguard again. So that's basically how you survive, just staying invisible the whole time, activating Fort Fire, and then on like oh shit moments, rolling guard. And then you also have Martyr Symbiosis from your Panzer Voplier. If you do decide to use Panzer, it'll help you. So, but let me go ahead and show you what it would look like as far as, like, let's say let me give you an example. So like if you're dealing with Thraxes, right? So if you're dealing with one Thrax, I'm just gonna summon all of them. So let's say if you're dealing with one Thrax, right? You're invisible. You're gonna activate Nourish. You're gonna go ahead and put. Now this is for higher levels. You do not need to prime at lower levels. Let me explain that. This Dread will work just fine without priming unless you're doing higher levels. Then you need to strip, okay? But this is what it would look like at higher levels. You prime for a little bit until you get that full stack of 14 to fully armor strip. I accidentally hit him with a bow, but yeah. So, like I said, prime 14 stacks. Once the armor is gone, headshot, right? Same thing, headshot. And this is, pretty much it. Let me go ahead and I don't know why my Incarnon's not building, but let me go ahead and summon like something else. I'm gonna go ahead and show you the Incarnon form. Okay. So even with Incarnon, same thing. You're just, turned into an AoE. But as you see, it's not needed. Priming is not needed when you're dealing with lower levels. The tick damage from the bleed is already pretty high. I think I just saw 1.3 million there as a bleed. Yeah, so this is the tick damage right there. 200 Ks, 206, 578, 480, 586. This is without priming. Now with priming, I mean, you can't even see the bleed tick because they die in the initial shot. But yeah, that's pretty much it for this video. Guys, I do want to say that I'm almost at 1,000 subscribers, so if you guys could help me out and hit that subscribe button, that'd be awesome. If you plan on using my build, or if you want to use it as a base, consider subscribing. But yeah, my name is Leo, your not so serious content creator, signing off.